This is what success looked like in 2014. Jared Leto, the musician turned actor, accepting the highest honor Hollywood can bestow, an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. He was the symbol of dedication, a performer whose intense, transformative method acting was not just tolerated, but aggressively rewarded. But now, less than a decade later, this is the frame we see him in. He is the star of Morbius, the catastrophic superhero flop that was so universally mocked it became an international punchline. A movie so bad it was re-released just to flop again. The question is simple. How did the ultimate method actor, the master of his craft, go from cinematic deity to franchise poison? This isn't just about a couple of bad scripts. This is the story of how Jared Leto's cult of commitment completely unraveled. Jared Leto was never just an actor. From the start, he cultivated a powerful dual identity that made him feel bigger than Hollywood itself. In 1998, he and his brother Shannon Leto co-founded the alternative rock band 30 Seconds to Mars. The band didn't stay niche for long. They achieved worldwide recognition with their second album, A Beautiful Lie, in 2005, followed by This Is War in 2009, showcasing a dramatic shift towards experimental and eclectic musical styles. This rock career was crucial. It established the other key component of the Leto brand: intense, cult-like devotion. The band's fan base, which they call the Echelon, was characterized by fierce loyalty. When journalists started calling the following a cult, Leto and the band didn't shy away. They leaned into it, cementing an identity built on messianic theatricality and profound high-level commitment. This framework, perfected on the world stages, would soon contaminate and ultimately derail his film career. The early method acting choices were not just tolerated, they were celebrated. The first definitive example came in 2000 with Darren Aronofsky's breakthrough film Requiem for a Dream. Leto was cast as Harry Goldbarb, and his commitment to the role was rigorous and highly publicized. To embody the constant craving and desperation of his character, Leto undertook significant transformations. He dropped 28 pounds, lived on the streets of New York, and, to heighten his character's desire, he refrained from sleeping with other people. He later described the process as being in a constant state of hunger and admitted that the experience was a painful, dark place, but ultimately he found it rewarding. Whether or not those details were literal, the message was clear. This was a performer willing to endure extreme personal deprivation for the sake of the art. This transformative suffering established the central pillar of his early prestige brand, that the intensity of the process was a direct measure of the artistic result. The profound critical success that cemented his prestige came in 2014 with Dallas Buyers Club. His portrayal of Rayon, a HIV-positive transgender woman, the result was a sweeping array of major industry awards, including the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, the Golden Globe Award, and the Screen Actors Award. Crucially, Leto didn't relax his methods for this role. He refused to break character during filming, a choice that only reinforced the narrative of his commitment. He stated that his complex portrayal was based on extensive research, including meeting with transgender people while preparing for the role. The Oscar victory represented the moment his method was fully validated by the Hollywood machine. The message was clear: extreme commitment, even bordering on disruption, was the path to the highest echelon of industry recognition. The shift from celebrated artist to professional liability centered on one disastrous set, Suicide Squad in 2016. In preparation for the role of the Joker, Leto decided his method needed to involve what he called gifts for his co-stars. These were not flowers or polite notes. Leto sent several deeply disturbing items to his fellow cast members, including a dead pig, a live rat, bullets, used condoms, and various other adult objects. The reaction from the cast was immediate and sharply negative. Reports surfaced that his co-stars found the experience unsettling and flat-out disturbing. This was the pivotal moment when Leto's commitment stopped being seen as artistic rigor and started being viewed as unprofessionalism and ego. The method was no longer a personal sacrifice for the sake of art, it was a weaponized excuse for antisocial behavior that compromised the entire set environment. Worse, the behavior didn't even pay off. The performance itself was critically panned, meaning the on-set disruption lacked the artistic justification that had previously shielded him. The technique once celebrated was now widely derided, cementing Leto's reputation as a toxic, disruptive coworker. As analysts later pointed out, there seemed to be a pattern. Method actors only employ these techniques when they are playing negative characters, never when they are trying to be lovely to everyone while they're really deep in character. This perception reframed Leto from a dedicated artist to a toxic coworker, turning his method technique into a professional weapon he wielded to the detriment of the production. In 2019, parallel to his film career starting to slide, Jared Leto made a strategic decision to formalize and monetize the fan devotion he'd built with 30 Seconds to Mars. The band hosted the Mars Island Retreat, inviting their most dedicated fans, the Echelon, to a high-cost 3-day event. The band didn't try to hide the optics. In fact, they doubled down. Playing on years of journalists calling their following a cult, Leto and the band decided to give that reputation a literal definition. They tweeted photos of Leto leading hundreds of people captioned, "Yes, this is a cult." The result of the strategic self-marginalization was immediate and toxic. The explicit cult branding fueled severe online rumors and speculation, creating a persistent, negative public image that followed him everywhere. By explicitly cultivating this controversial niche fan culture, Jared Leto crossed a critical tipping point. He made himself inherently unappealing to the mainstream, family-friendly blockbuster audience required to justify massive studio investment, ensuring his brand would be viewed as high-risk from that point forward. The shift from toxic coworker to meme status culminated with the release of Morbius in 2022. This film was a definitive critical and commercial flop, managing to generate only $170 million worldwide, failing miserably to meet financial expectations. Artistically, the movie was savaged. Critics cited an underwhelming script, shallow character development, poor pacing, and technical shortcomings, including visual effects that felt incomplete and disrupted audience immersion. But the real career-defining damage came from the anecdotes that leaked from the set. Reports circulated that Leto insisted on using crutches to slowly limp to the bathroom because that's what his character Morbius would do. This action was immediately met with public ridicule, cementing the perception that his method had mutated from dedication into pure ego. He wasn't acting, he was performing an endurance test, prioritizing his bizarre process over production efficiency and storytelling quality. The industry delivered its final judgment when the film received 5 Golden Raspberry Award nominations, with Leto himself winning the award for Worst Actor. Yet, Morbius created a unique cultural legacy, the Morbiusverse. The film became a collective internet hate watch, inspiring widespread ironic memes like Morbius Sweep and jokes about making a more $1 billion. In a staggering, unprecedented corporate blunder, Sony misinterpreted this viral mockery as genuine audience demand and re-released the film in theaters in June 2022. It failed commercially again. This was a historic victory for internet trolls, a studio fooled by irony, and cemented Leto's lead roles as a cultural benchmark for catastrophic commercial failure. This brings us to the present. Tron Eris. This high-budget project is the next critical stress test of the Leto brand. Leto isn't just a star playing the character, he is also a producer who personally championed the film after the previous sequel was cancelled. So he is personally and professionally accountable for the outcome. The Tron franchise itself is high risk, a special interest item that has been on life support for 15 years with limited mass market appeal. Should Tron Eris fail commercially, that failure will not be assigned to the franchise. It will be culturally assigned to the actor. A second, massive, high-budget flop in a row would fundamentally validate every studio executive decision to distance themselves from his leadership, concluding his phase as a sought-after blockbuster lead actor. This decline is not just a string of bad luck. It's a systemic collision between Leto's highly cultivated brand and the unforgiving landscape of modern studio filmmaking. The story of Jared Leto's career is a fascinating, tragic case study in how public perception and an unwillingness to adapt can completely derail a star's commercial viability. He is now structurally incompatible with the risk-averse, collaboration-heavy demands of the modern blockbuster studio system. A high-profile star who guarantees on-set turbulence and generates cultural mockery is simply not worth the multi-million-dollar investment. The cult of commitment that Jared Leto built ultimately didn't save his career, it isolated him, making him a cautionary tale about an artist whose dedication became so intense that he alienated the only group that truly matters, the paying audience.